Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's been almost a month now since Russia invaded Ukraine. And over the last 4 weeks, it's been kind of crazy. We've been in the whole world has been held in this state of fears. Are we about to see World War III, nuclear war? Are we going to run out of food? Is the prices of food going to just skyrocket out of control? Here in America, we're worried about inflation. And the fact that our dollar seems to be losing value quite rapidly, and a lot of the world just isn't interested in trading it or keeping it anymore. And so it's just been one thing after another. And that's just covering a few of the issues that we've talked about on here quite a bit over the last few weeks and really a few months. But it does kind of seem to me, and maybe I'm off on this, but it does kind of seem that it's been going on now long enough for a little bit of complacency to start to kick in with a lot of people. I've seen in the news, there's an article from Fox Business, says that Goldman's is worried, is saying that there's just too much relaxed, and the market is too relaxed, that everyone's just not taking it too seriously. If you even notice the stock market, and some of you do, while it's definitely been a roller coaster ride, it's actually done pretty well over the last few weeks. Yes, it's lost some value for certain, but not in the way that a lot of people thought. I mean, we're talking potential World War III. Saudi Arabia is talking about dropping the dollar with China. I mean, all these things that in the past we thought, man, if they happen, it's going to be the stock market collapsing. The possibility that, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20% of the world's caloric food supply. I mean, all the foods that's based on, the amount of calories produced by food is basically been taken off the market. There's calls, very serious calls, that we could be seeing famine-level starvation in a lot of third world countries because of what's happening, and then skyrocketing food prices here in the United States. And yet the stock market is still trucking along, and you can still make money. In fact, there's all kinds of people currently right now on YouTube telling you and teaching you how you can make money right now, because a lot of money can be made in this. It seems to be just kind of, getting into this phase that everyone's kind of used to what's going on. I mean, yes, there's still a lot of talk about the war, and there's still a lot of talk about, all the people that are being affected by it, and drumming up support for it. But there's also seems to be a slowly shifting narrative that, it's just kind of is what it is. Even in the news, they're talking about it being almost a stalemate between Russia and Ukraine. And I mean, I'm no expert. I don't have all the inside details. But if you read these articles talking about the stalemate in the war, the actual war itself, they make it sound like that Russia has exerted all of its, capable military force in this, and they just can't really push Ukraine any further. And we know that that's not true. They have way more capabilities. And I'm not even including nuclear. I'm just talking about the massive conventional weaponry that they could unleash if they wanted to. So if there is a stalemate, it would be because Russia is wanting that. Well, the point to all of this is, is that you and I need to be careful for us to not be complacent, for us to not be caught in what's possibly a lull right now in the news cycle, and a lull in just the dramatic and fearful, stuff that's coming out, the next biggest boom and the next biggest thing that's happening. We could be experiencing a little bit of a lull right now, because when this happened, everyone just thought that just meant, we're on the verge of nuclear war. We're on the edge of our seats, just waiting to be attacked. We're waiting for China to drop the bomb and attack Taiwan. And well, some of that stuff hasn't played out, although certainly some things are playing out. But I think they're playing out at a slower speed than what we expect. Not so much a slower speed because things are moving slow, but because we live in a culture now that for at least the last 20 to 30 years have been conditioned by media, movies, television, that things move at a very rapid pace. The world can be normal and go to apocalyptic end in just an hour and a half movie. and we expect things to move at that pace. We expect that, a major offensive against a fairly large country can, take place in under 3 days. And that's just not how things work in this world. Personally, the things that are happening right now seem to be at a fairly rapid pace, I think. So I don't think things have slowed down. But I suspect there's going to be this little spin to try to convince people of that. And so my message today is number one, don't get caught up in this belief that everything's kind of in a lull and everything's slowed down. And then that's the place where we can just kind of kick back and take a breath and say, now it's time to just relax. Maybe it's time to catch our breath, but it's certainly not a time to relax and to drop our guard. You see, in battle, real battle, there are often times of lulls. In fact, there's more times during a war where there isn't battle going on. There's more time that you're sitting around doing nothing than you are actually engaged in an actual conflict. And if you talk to anyone that's actually served in a war, they'll tell you that the vast majority of their time on deployment was actually spent probably just sitting around, cleaning a gun, eating, taking a nap, things like that. So don't allow a lull in what's happening on a global stage to make you think that things have kind of slowed down and that things you're in a position where you can just kind of relax and take it easy for a while. What we need to be doing, just like it would happen in a real war, is that when there's a lull in the battle, that's the time to resupply. That's the time to do equipment checks. That's the time to, get your belly filled, take a bathroom break, maybe take a short nap, but get yourselves ready for when the battle begins again. And that's something that those of you that have seen combat could attest to, that when you're in a battle and there's a lull in the battle, you don't just like, okay, well, I'm just going to go, curl up, take a nap and call it quits for a while. No, you take that time, that little bit of a lull in the battle to resupply, to get ready, to stock up. Well, folks, that's what we need to be doing, because while prices have gone up, and I'm telling you, my wife and I, we went to a store yesterday to pick up something, and I went around and I was just kind of doing some price checking, and things have gone up substantially. Most things in what that I looked at and compared pricing to, that even in just the last month, there are things that's gone up 20, 30, and 40% just in the last month. Some of the prices they're just getting crazy. So there's certainly the ever increasing prices of things, but we still have the availability of most things. Yeah, there's some shortages. We're not seeing shelves as full as they once were, but we've been seeing that now for about a year. But you can still get stuff. You can still stock up. You can still get ready. And so for those of us that are serious about being prepared, because we know what's coming, we know things are getting bad, we know this monster back here in the room that no one's looking at, this complete collapse of our supply chain, of our political system, of our monetary system, it's all happening, it's all growing. And we know it's about hit its maximum, size, that it's about ready to burst. And so what we have to do is take this time to get ourselves prepared. Certainly what's going on overseas, in Europe, things that's moving and shaking in China, these are all things that we need to be aware of, because it gives us a little bit of a heads up. For those of us smart enough to kind of read the tea leaves, as we see these things happening, it gives us kind of a little bit of an edge that, that's happening. That must mean we're just a little bit closer to something really bad happening. But we also need to be focused on getting ourselves prepared. For the last couple of weeks, among the many other things that we do around here on the homestead, my wife and I have been kind of reassessing our own preparations. Everything from food to tools, to the skills that we have, how things are set up, reevaluating the security here on our own property and what we need to do, where there's any gaps and holes in it. These are been the forefront focus for my wife and I. We've actually spent several hours over the past a couple of weeks sitting and talking about this. We've crunched numbers. We've gone over our supplies and kind of looked at them, try to figure out where we need to, where are some gaps that we need to fill in. We've been price checking on a lot of stuff. And we've been actually training. I made a video the other day I put up on the Patreon channel where us as a family went out and did some family training. And so we are taking this time. We see what's happening. It's building. But at least for those of us here in the United States and most of the world, unless, of course, you live in Ukraine, unfortunately, the rest of the world sees what's happening. They see what's happening with the war. They see what's happening with the economy and the currency and the gas prices and the food prices increase. They see what's happening, but we're still in a place that we can get ready. Most of us aren't quite into the breadline stage yet. I mean, there may be some, and I understand that there's a very wide range of finances from my listeners. I know that some of you are just barely making it, and others, you do quite well for yourself. The point is that most everyone is still in a place that we can actively prepare, that we can actively stock up, that we can actively learn and acquire more knowledge and hone our skills. And so as we start to see things kind of appear like a little bit of a lull, I mean, there's certainly stuff happening all the time, but it doesn't appear that it's happening right at this moment. And that could change. That could change tomorrow. That could change before I make in this video. We could experience a cyber attack, or there could be some radical change in the war in Europe, or something could happen with our economy, causing it to take a massive downturn. Those things can happen very quickly, but until they do, please take advantage of this time that you have. Take advantage of the fact that while prices have gone up, you can still buy some things. You can still get them. You may have to pay a little bit more. And like I said, I understand some of you can't afford to pay too much more, but the fact is it is available. And I would encourage you that right now, where things are at in the world and where things are at here in the United States, it's bad. It's getting bad. We know it's going to get very bad. I think it's going to get very bad probably soon. And when I say soon, I mean over the next rest of this year. But the fact is that right now in this moment, most people can still do some more, be proactive, and get yourself prepared a little bit more. Look for, do maybe a little bit better research on where you can purchase things. As prices start to go up, and they're going up rapidly, we're at a place right now that you might be able to buy something at a store that they've had on the shelves for a month or two, and the price difference between that exact item and something at another store that they've just resupplied recently could be quite significant. And then also look at places that you can buy potentially at wholesale prices, and get things down a little bit more in price. This is possible if you're proactive. You have to put a little bit of work into it. For those of you that's the coupon clippers and all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm talking about. And I understand it's your time, but it's worth it. It's worth it to spend the time to try to get a little bit better price. We did that recently, and I'm just going to give you this as an example. We purchased some bags of wheat. And we have some wheat, but there was another particular type that we wanted. And so I've done some checking, and the kind that we were looking for, I was finding a price range, and this is for a 50-pound bag of wheat. I was finding a price range anywhere between $42 all the way up to $49 for that 50-pound bag. And we dug a little digging, and I found a place here locally that I can order at no minimum. I can order one bag at a time, and we paid $32 for it. It's the exact same brand. There's nothing different in the wheat itself. It's just where we bought it from. And so if you dig around, you can find that. And so Be proactive. Take this lull as a time to resupply, to stock up, to get yourself cleaned up. Think of it as a battle. There's a lull in the battle, and what do? You eat a little food, drink a little joe, get your rifle loaded back up, get yourself resupplied, and get ready for when that battle begins again. And that's where we're at right now. And it feels like for many of you, I'm sure, that we've been in a battle for like 2 years now. And that's true, because that's what we're experiencing. We're in actually a war that is designed to completely change the world that we live in. Much like Joe Biden said yesterday, it's a new world order that's happening. And so for you and I, we have to be prepared and take advantage of the time that we have left to get ourselves ready. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and most especially spiritually. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.